Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the threeohtake, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Woo! Welcome back to the threeohtake, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 462. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
That is I'm that guy. Welcome back. Everybody hanging out with us on this is an early recording.
Early recording.
This is an early one. We still got people in the live chat, which is insanely cool.
Nate's got bigger and better things he's got to handle tonight. He's got a big fantasy football draft. I don't fault you. I mean,
yeah,
I'd probably request an early recording if I were you too. So no,
this is a
no
big
blame.
one. This is a big one. I've done at least 15 mock drafts, I believe. There's a lot of pressure on this one. So we'll see. We shall see.
Can we get just a quick glimpse into your draft strategy here? Do you know who you're going with for your first pick?
So I'm in the 11th spot out of 12. I know you haven't been doing anything fantasy football wise in a while, but like there's this strategy that's like either zero running back or hero running back. So like you either get your running backs early or you wait way late and just get like crazy with wide receivers. I think I'm going hero running back, and I'm eyeing Saquon. I would love if Jonathan Taylor fell back to me with the Colts, but I don't think he will. So I think I'm going to go Saquon and Jahmyr Gibbs right away, and then just like wide receivers for a while. But I'm in this league with my father-in-law. I was telling you before we hopped on, these old guys just freaking love quarterbacks, and they get them ridiculously early, and it just throws the whole strategy off. So I have no idea what's going to happen. It's going to be tough. It's going to be weird, but I'm ready to get weird. Not just for that, for this too, you know?
I mean, let's get weird. Speaking of weird, no, this is a great segue. So I went to the O's Astros game yesterday. It was sort of a makeup plan for not going the week before when the Sox were in town. But logistics didn't work out last weekend. But Meredith was like, "Hey, let's get to a game." Mm-hmm. You've been talking about wanting to go to games, so I was like, "All right, yeah, let's go to Baltimore." So we went down there for the game against the Astros yesterday. Beautiful weather. Ballpark was packed. We ended up being like 20 minutes late. I'm telling you, the pitch clock,
it really just moves things along.
Kills the in-person experience. I know we're like a ways into this now, so there's no point in me even rehashing that. But we were like 20 minutes late, and then by the time we got to our spot, it was like middle of the third. I'm like, well, that sucks. But anyway, talking weird. So we just went as cheap as possible. I just got a couple standing room only tickets because I was like, don't really have a dog in this fight anyway. I just want to catch some good baseball. Beautiful weather. So let's go
hang out by Utah.
Yeah, take a walk around, take around the park. We actually ended up
I love it out there.
Yeah, it's incredible. They do it right. The ballpark is very, very well made and very well set up. But we ended up actually setting up shop out above the bullpen. So like if you've seen the view out towards the bullpens, there's like the railings where you can look.
There's like that little like park right behind it. There's like picnic tables and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can like look right over and see the guys in the pen. So we're standing right on top of the Stros pen, and we're actually up on the railing. We got a spot there on the railing. So, you know, like Neris is walking by, Hader's walking by, Caleb Ferguson was hanging out right in front of us for a good bit. And I didn't say a word to these guys, nor would I. I'd have no reason to. It doesn't matter if it's the Astros, even if it was the Yankees. I'm not like whatever. I'm just here to watch.
I don't think either of us.
We're well beyond the age of saying anything to the guys in the bullpen. This one guy, however, and this is where the whole weird segue comes into play. There's this guy who's over in the center field seats to the right of the hitter's eye. Wish I would have been able to like say something to this guy. Like, dude, reevaluate your life. But anyway, the guy is sitting in the center field seats, and Hader is over there doing his his band work in preparation for a possible appearance into the game ended up not going in, but he's over there doing his band work, like in the shadows. Like he's not even in the actual pen. He went outside the pen, walked up the walkway towards the base of the hitter's eye, and there's just like a little cavity there where you can kind of just hide out and do your work. He's down there, and this guy who I would probably peg at, I'll call it an even 30. It's probably even 30.
Okay.
He's rocking a Jackson Holiday shirt. Okay. Meanwhile, every Astros brand new fan. Every Astros reliever that steps up to do their work yelling at the top of his lungs, "Hey, hater, you suck!" Like blood curdling yelling. I'm like, my brother, let's dial it back, please.
It's like the 6th inning.
The 6th inning. And then Caleb Ferguson gets up to warm up because he actually ended up going to the game. As he's making his way to the gate to make his way out onto the field, this guy goes, "Hey Caleb, you're literally balding. You are literally balding." And I looked over at Meredith and I said, "That guy's probably 30 years old.
Yeah.
He's wearing a jersey of a guy that's 20 years old.
Yeah.
And he's yelling at a guy who's roughly around the same age as him, if not older, telling him that he's losing his hair." You need to reevaluate your life choices. If you go to a baseball game and if it's a rival, okay, I kind of get it, but like the age I think takes precedent here. Like if you're above a certain age, here's where I draw the line. If you're a one-off case and you're just shouting at a guy, you're the only one saying anything to where everybody around you can hear what's being said. No, like, come on. You're 30 years old. You're 40 years old, 50, whatever. If you're above 30, maybe even 25, like, come on, let's grow up. But if you're just shouting as part of the mob, just randomness, whatever. But like, my brother, you're 30 years old. You're wearing a jersey of a guy that's a kid that's 20 years old.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was very, very strange.
That's weirdo activity.
Very, very strange activity. But, you know, Orioles fans are going through it right now. So
that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, Orioles fans don't know how to act right now. Like, relax for a sec, man. They're just freaking out. And they're so ready to throw shade. And then they're so ready to hate their own team. It's really weird.
Get a little taste of that success. I don't know how to act. That's what we've been saying.
Leave my boy Ryan alone, by the way.
Yeah, just Ryan Ripken.
He's catching ridiculous strays for being optimistic.
Get off his back.
And understanding that a season is a marathon.
Get off his back.
Fan base attacking my guy. I don't like it.
Hey, let's talk talking about success. Let's talk Shohei reaching the 40-40 club. It's not even September. I mean, you could say that for both of these headlines we're talking about here today with Shohei and Judge. It's not even September.
Yeah.
And in classic Shohei fashion, goes out. This was Friday night. Goes out Friday night and does it in the same game. If it was anybody else, I'd be like, wow, that's, right. I mean, talk about a surprise. With Shohei, I was almost expecting it, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, what more do we have to say about this guy?
I think he's just so under the radar with stolen bases. I think he's so under the radar.
Have you watched him run?
I know. He's like a deer.
It's sneaky, quick. Yeah. Well, it's not even sneaky. He's got 40 stolen bags, but
long strides, long, efficient strides. Dude is a freak.
By the way, random. Do you know how old Shohei is? I feel like we talk about Shohei all the time, but I don't know if we've ever really brought to attention his age.
I'd say 28.
He's 30.
30.
Because when I saw him move, I was like,
he was in with the Angels for what, like 7 years?
What was he got there 18?
Yeah. So 6 years.
6 years. The reason I was looking up his age to confirm, because I was like, I think it's somewhere around 30, maybe a little below that. The reason I was looking up his age is because I saw him move and I was like, I wonder how that's going to age. Like you know how it ages with other guys who are also fast, but Shohei is in a league of his own here. He's in a tier of his own. You just don't know how that's gonna translate.
Well, 100%.
I don't know like if it's gonna be better than other situations with guys who are just as fast, or if it's going to age worse because he's doing so much.
You're saying just the speed thing, like
just the speed,
stolen base.
Just
are you saying speed or stolen bases?
Speed as a tool, I would say.
Okay. I think there was like this level of, because can't we can go back to the last few years and the stolen bases weren't this high, right?
No, and that brings up the whole conversation of the base is getting larger and the
Well, I think it brings up the conversation of him not pitching. Like, hey, we're not having you in the field. You're not needing to save this stamina for the mound. There's like this lack of like less cautious approach of just saying like, hey, get after it.
I don't. Yeah,
he had 20 last year, 11 the year before, 26 the year before.
I mean, he is ramping it up. Like, I don't know if you've seen, he's had some pen sessions, so like he's at least back in that world in terms of being back on the bump. So it's not, to me, it's not like a full freedom, like, hey, go do what you want because you're not throwing. It's like, well, be careful because we are planning to revisit that side of your game at some point. So let's not just go completely careless.
You think he comes back this year?
I don't think that was the plan. I mean, unless...
See, that's what I'm saying. Is there like this freedom that he wouldn't have otherwise, that he won't have moving forward? Is it also the mentality of the Dodgers versus the Angels, right? Like, I love it. I'm here for it. I think if we have someone like this, like I want to see what you're capable of fully, right? You talk like Barry Bonds before, like pre-steroids, Barry Bonds was swiping bags all the time. And then it just kind of like got eliminated out of his game. I say let this guy eat. Let him do whatever he wants to do. I hope this stays in his repertoire once he is back on the mound full time.
In the chat, what do we think what do we think his line's going to end up being? Bag or home runs and bags? What do we think he's going to end up with? Because, like I said, it's not even September. Just some more nuggets here on his feet. He's the first Dodger in franchise history, which is really hard to believe. I mean, you look at that franchise and you go, surely somebody had to have come along and put up a 40-40 season. Surely.
Yeah.
He's the first Dodger to do it. He's the sixth player in Major League Baseball history to join the club. You know the other names? I know the graphics have been floating around on social.
I'm going to struggle here, I think. Let's go Barry. Barry Bonds has got to be in there, yeah? Gosh, this is hard. 40-40 is just different, dude. Let's go young A-Rod. Dude.
Paul says at least 50-50. Paul says at least 50-50.
I agree. I think he's in the 50-50 club.
And to that point, a lot of the commentary I'm seeing on it, and I would agree in terms of speculating on what that projection ends up being, people have brought up the fact that his home runs come in bunches, which I would agree with. If he can get on a roll over this last, month of the
30,
season.
Like 30-ish games left?
I think it's, what do we have, 32?
Yeah.
32 to 34 games? I don't put 50.
I would love to see a 50-50. That's insane. Was Griffey in that, by the way?
Sorry, back to your guessing. What do you got?
Griffey. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. Give me one more guess. If I get it wrong, you give me the rest. Blah, 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 blah.
I mean, recent history, Nate.
Real recent?
Last calendar year.
Last year. Who was in the 40-40 club last year?
Well, he kind of made his own club.
Oh,
You're gonna kick
Acuna.
yourself. Yeah, there you go.
40-70.
Just smack you right in the face. Yeah, it's kind of weird. You're like 40-40. Where,
I know,
whose names have I seen attached to 40-40? Well, technically Acuna, but
All right, so I got 3 names so
40-70.
far.
yeah.
Are any of them active? Any of the others? No.
Nope. You're missing 2.
Obvious ones, I think. I mean, all these names are like superstars. They got to be.
Yeah. I think one for you would be more obvious than the other.
40-40. Why do I feel like Alfonso Soriano did it? As a national, huh?
As a national, 2006, put up a 46-41 season. By the way, the other names, Acuna last year put up a 41-73. A-Rod put up a 42-46 in 98. And Bonds put up a 42-40 in 96. Mind you, again, Shohei has a whole another month plus left to play.
That's insane.
I mean, these
give
guys are barely beating the buzzer, putting up 40 steals by the end. Like I would imagine in game 161 or 162, Shohei's got another 30, 34 games left.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Willie. No. All right. The rest is you. Tell me.
Well, the only name you didn't get, Jose Canseco in 1988 with the Oakland A's.
Never would have got there.
And
I had no idea he had that in the bag.
42-40, which again, another example of a guy that just got it, just beat the buzzer.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No idea that he was in that club.
Did you see that? I think I read that it was a year to the day when he reached the feet on Friday. A year prior was the day he tore his UCL.
Really?
Yeah, just more.
That's pretty wild.
Just another page in the book that is Shohei Ohtani. Like it's just such a. It truly is a unicorn story, and I know that gets thrown around a lot, but like the guy tears his UCL a year to the day. Joins the 40-40 club. It's just insane.
I just think this is. I didn't mean like I'm not coming down on the guy for not having more swipes. I'm not saying that he's like this is it. Like, this is the only time you're going to see it. I just think it's so insane. We're going to get into this discussion, but he's my MVP for the fact that like I can't give you this year. I'm going to find you a way to give you. I'm going to find a way to give you something else. I got the juice. I'm going to hit homers, but I'm going to find a different way of providing productivity. And I think to me, that's what's most impressive about this.
Well,
not saying that stolen bases is like equivalent to, being an ace on the mound, but like, hey, like you're making up for it for not being able to be in the field.
Well, you kind of alluded to it. Something that you and I had talked about before we hopped on. I wanted to touch on the Frankie Lindor MVP talk because I've seen a lot of that servicing on social, and for good reason. He's been playing especially well as of late. But just looking at his numbers, I'm not seeing why we're hearing MVP chants.
I don't either.
For Francisco Lindor. Is he having a respectable season? Yes. Is he having a season in which he will likely garner MVP votes? Most likely. But he's not your MVP. Why do we have these conversations? Like if it's like a Judge versus Ohtani, and Ohtani's Judge is putting up like AL record type home run numbers as he was 2 years ago. Okay, I see where that conversation merits the discussion. But it's Francisco Lindor in the year 2024. He's hitting 269, 27 home runs, 78 RBIs, 25 bags, and a WAR of 5.9.
That's that right there. It's the WAR lovers that are having this conversation. It's the manipulation of numbers to like put him in this conversation. I haven't looked at numbers recently, but I would argue that like Marcell Ozuna would probably get more votes for MVP than Frankie Lindor. And I get like, it's what you're going to argue as far as like, the value of playing a position or being a DH. And I definitely understand playing shortstop every day is not easy. But I'm not there. I don't know. This isn't even about like Met hate. This is just like very like generic numbers.
This is common sense.
He's not a league leader in any category. Is he?
Let's take a peek here. Plate appearances, games played.
Playing every day at shortstop has absolute accomplishment. Like that's a big deal. But let's not get to the MVP conversation just because of that.
I believe he's one of the few left this year that has played in every game. I may be mistaken. I'm pretty sure.
That's a big deal. I'm not going to downplay that in any way. That's a huge deal,
but
especially today.
But to your point about Ozuna, a WAR of 4.2. He's got 37 bombs. He's hitting 307 and 94 RBIs.
I don't even know the rest of the home. I mean, you're going to have multiple guys that have more than 40 home runs this year. And Lindor might not even get to 35. Likely won't.
In what world does Francisco Lindor win an MVP over Shohei Ohtani this year? What is with the chance? Is he the MVP of the Mets? Sure. And maybe that's what these fans are acknowledging or pointing out.
No one holds on to that argument anymore. Most valuable to his team. That's no longer what this is.
In no world, not in my world, does Francisco Lindor beat out a Shohei Ohtani who's hitting nearly 300. He's in the 40-40 club, and he has a WAR over 6, and it's not even September.
What are the OPSs looking like?
OPS on the year, Shohei
is in the 9s.
Shohei is 998. Lindor is 830.
Come on, guys.
There's no category. Like, there's not even the advanced analytics. You can't make some crafty argument to say that Francisco Lindor in any scenario wins an MVP over Shohei.
You dwindle it down to him just playing shortstop versus Ohtani just being a DH. That's not enough when you're losing in every other offensive category. Not enough. But separate conversation, like I said. Lindor playing every day with that contract, with the Mets in the ups and downs there, like that is a different accomplishment. And he deserves praise for that. But I'm out on the MVP stuff. This is a joke.
Yeah, to your point, separate conversation. Frankie Lindor. There's people saying that he's overrated, which I think is insane. Like let's not get overly carried away.
Yeah. I think there's more of a conversation. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. There's more of an argument for Bobby Witt, AL MVP, compared to Judge, versus Lindor compared to Ohtani for NL MVP. You see what I'm saying?
That's a great point. Yeah, that's absolutely the truth.
This isn't even on my radar anymore. And it's silly that it's been trending almost.
Well, let's talk about that name. Aaron Judge reached the 50 home run mark, and as I'm pulling my notes together, puts up 51. So this is already outdated, but he has reached the 50th homer threshold for the third time in his career. He did it his rookie year. He did it 2022 when he set the AL home run record, and now in the year 2024 has hit 50 home runs. And again, as Shohei still has Judge has over a month left to play.
Yeah.
And he's on pace right now. The last I saw was, well, actually it may have changed
because
because
62 again.
Well, I think that was when he was at 50. So I'm sure putting up 51, maybe it's gone up even 1 or 2. I'm not sure how the rate works at that point, but we're pushing a repeat of 2022 at this clip.
Yep. I don't know how often we can I don't know what left to talk about here. I think this is more impressive than 2022. He's hitting over 330. His OPS is nearing 1,200. He's slugging more than the league average OPS. His slug, I'm going to say that again. His slug is higher than the league average OPS. That is stupid. That is
that's so stupid. Like, do you?
I don't think people.
I can't believe I'm going to say
understand.
this. Do you realize how good you have to be at baseball to reach that kind of threshold?
It's silly, dude.
And that's not just like it goes without saying, but just to emphasize here, that's not just getting hot for like a week. With the way averages work over the course of 162 games, in order to do that and to have that be true at the end of the month of August, you have to be hitting so well.
That's the other thing, is that there were quite literally people saying he needs to be sent down in April. There were people.
Wow, I mean, he was hitting very, very bad. He was hitting quite opposite of what he's doing now.
Walking around saying that he needs to be sent down in April. So when you're talking about having basically a full month of terrible numbers and you're still doing this, what are we doing? This guy is crazy.
That honestly may go down based on how the rest of the season finishes up. Aaron Judge having a month of below average output may go down as one of those greatest what ifs in baseball history of like, if he had maintained what he's been doing for the majority of the season in that month to start out the season, what sort of numbers are we looking at the end of the year?
I think we can go back to the conversation always, but like it was the injury in spring training, didn't get a ton of ABs. But in April he hit, so it was March for 16 at bats, which is stupid. He had a 398 OPS in those games. In April, he had 100 at-bats with an 811 OPS. He had 6 home runs. I'm speechless.
Just jumping in here. Chat, how many home runs we think Aaron Judge is finishing up with by the end of 2024?
Does he get to 63?
I'm telling you, man, if there was and maybe it's due to the fact that he's already hit 2 home runs a day. Maybe it's just giving me a little bit of extra bias here, recency bias. But I just feel like the way he's swinging it this year, there's no way that he just gets to 62 and stops.
Yeah. I think the other thing you got to consider is that their strength of schedule is really low the rest of the way out. They've got like the A's, they've got the Pirates. They have some bad teams they're going to be playing the rest of the way out. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because like you see certain teams, that won't pitch to him. There are certain teams where like, you're not going to beat us. And with a lot of these teams that they're facing the rest of the way out, being out of playoff contention and just out of the conversation, they're going to be like, whatever, like, what do you want us to do? But it helps that, it seems like Glaber in that leadoff spot has been going well the last few weeks. And him getting on, Soto being on right now, like there's no option. You can't go around him. And it all comes down to that. September needs to be a very good month for the leadoff spot and for Soto. And Judge will most likely reach these numbers.
The first player in MLB history with 50-plus homers, 120-plus RBIs, and 100-plus walks before September. That's just I should have
Yeah.
made that the title of the episode before September. It's not even
right.
September.
I think it was what was the other one? It was 3 seasons with 50 plus home runs. There's only like 5 other guys. Did you get that down?
Players that have hit 50 plus homers in a season 3 times: Babe Ruth,
Heard of him?
Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, and A-Rod. Which
So one name didn't cheat.
which by the way, and I think I tweeted the other day, but one of my favorite nuggets of Sammy Sosa's career is that he hit 60 homers in a season 3 times and didn't lead the league in homers any of those seasons. That tells you the state of offense and the state of baseball and what was going on at that point. That's all you need. That's all you need to know is to look at that.
Very true. I think Babe did it 5 times. I think I saw on the Yankee broadcast that he did it 5 times in his career.
Ruth is the only other Yankee with 3, or obviously as I list off the list, but the only other Yankee with 3+ seasons of 50+ homers. So I think, I think I did see that. It was over 3, but just
because A-Rod only
stupid numbers.
A-Rod only did it 1 time as a Yankee, but
just stupid. And then, as you mentioned, kind of tying a bow on this, we're looking at a possible triple crown here. If it wasn't for Bobby Witt Jr.,
I know.
Like, we're looking at easy MVP, easy triple crown.
Yeah. And I'm not going to be that guy that tears down Bobby Witt in his season.
No, absolutely not.
To build up Aaron Judge's conversation. I do think Aaron Judge is the MVP, but Bobby Witt is going to do this quite literally for the next decade. And he's going to win a few. So just give this one to Judge because you're going to be fine moving forward.
Let's put this in perspective. We've been talking about Aaron Judge's tear the last, 4 months of the season.
Yeah.
The fact that we're coming up on the end of the season, we have a month plus left, and Bobby Witt is still in the conversation. The same conversation as Aaron Judge.
It shows how good
Bobby Witt's season is. How good of a season Bobby Witt is having. With the fact we're not putting them on equal pedestals here. I think it's safe to say that Aaron Judge with what he's done will probably I don't even want to say run away with the MVP, but I think that's somewhat of an easier conversation than maybe some are labeling it to be. But the fact that you're still even in the same breath at this stage of the season tells you just how insane of a year you're having.
It's legit, dude. It's legit. And again, playing shortstop every day, premier position. And that's probably another reason why I think this season's better than 2022 for Judge, is that he's playing center field every day. Different.
Got to respect it. Speaking of respect, Scott Servais got no respect on the way out the door in Seattle. Got fired this past week, just short of the weekend. I think it was Thursday. After almost 9 full seasons with the Mariners, he started back in 2016. Was shown the way to the door, but not before he was made aware of his firing via a text alert. I don't know if you saw that.
Didn't know that.
Didn't even get to find out.
That's a big wrinkle.
In person. Found out via text alert that he was being let go.
Alert, as in like a Twitter notification? What do you mean
I
by
think
text alert?
Let me see here.
First of all,
it was a Ken
how
Rosen.
old are you? If you're saying text alert,
Yeah, I didn't say it. He got the notification from a Ken Rosenthal tweet that he was being let go. I read that it. I'm reading here 90 minutes. Damn. 90 minutes before he had his meeting. So he was sitting on that for a half an hour, going, "Well, this is nice."
I support the decision. It's hard to argue at this point.
Is Scott Servais responsible for the fact that they've had the worst offense in baseball, maybe short of the White Sox, for the last however many months. Is that on Scott Servais?
I think it's definitely a perfect storm of a scenario.
I
think he's got to be the fall guy, unfortunately.
I get it. And we talk about this all the time. Anytime a manager goes, you don't even really necessarily look at what they've done. You just look at what the team, or like what they've done as a manager. You have to default to looking at what the team does. And then that dictates whether or not they stick around. It sucks, but that's just how it works. You have to have a fall guy, like you said. But it wasn't the decision. It was, I don't know if you heard any of the or read any of the quotes after the fact, but I saw that Jerry DiPoto had just plenty of things to say after the fact. One of the things did not sit well with me. One of the things I read, he said, collectively, we determined that our organization needed this. First of all, that's not how you start. That's not how you start that conversation. That's not how you get the ball rolling. Hey, we needed this guy gone. This guy that I call my friend, this longtime friend, we needed him gone. That's not how you, just basic PR 101. That's not how you start that conversation. Yeah. He says, collectively, we determined that our organization needed this. We needed to do something to create a different theme, a different vibe in our clubhouse. I'm not trying to throw Scott under the bus at all here. I can't say enough positive things about the things he did in contributing here, but I do think we needed a new voice. And then I didn't get the tail end of the quote, but he goes on to say, like, I still think we can make a run at this. We can make a push at this. And I'm going, this isn't Philly. You can't bring in Philly Rob and expect things to just turn around on a dime. Like clearly the issues in Seattle run far deeper than who's at the managerial seat.
I don't disagree. I think the timing of it does make sense. Like if we're going to do it, might as well try to use this as some kind of spark to sneak in.
I suppose.
I do get that a little bit. Sorry, I'm looking at... Yeah, he was only there for 30 games. So I saw this Cameron Maben podcast clip. He's a guest on some podcast. And I like Cameron Maben. I don't know like how, if you've heard like very many interviews of him, he's always kept it real. Like he's always been very straightforward. Great clubhouse guy everywhere he goes. I was looking at his game, like his BR page, and I guess it was only 30 games that he was in the Mariners clubhouse. But he said, he's like, I've been around a lot of different managers, a lot of different teams, a lot of different clubhouses. And he's like, there's certain managers that say my door's always open. And there's a lot of managers that mean that. And there's a lot of managers that don't. And he's like, there's a lot of names that if you go knocking on that door, it's not going well. They don't want confrontation. They don't want conversation. It's all business. And he's like, for me, and I would probably say for a few other guys, that Scott Servais was a lot like that. Not as approachable as you would want, or some of these guys nowadays would want. Whether you're for that or against that, that's for you to decide. You and I have talked about how much like there is this level of old school manager that I miss in the game. There's this gut feel. There's this, respect of a manager versus this buddy. I just want to be boys with you that like has now kind of dominated a manager mentality. You can go to war for your players and you can be a player manager, but there's still this level of respect that I think needs to be had. But yeah, it's just that was interesting. And it I don't know, like those are opinions we rarely get to hear about. We never really get to see what it's like behind the curtain. So maybe there was a little bit of that going on. Maybe that, some of these guys weren't loving going to battle for Scott Servais every day.
Regardless what side of the fence you're on with the style of managing that Scott Servais brings to the table, the downfall that the Mariners witnessed this season, and again, there's still technically time, but from where they were to where they are now, truly insane. From OptaStats on Twitter, Scott Servais is the first manager in MLB history to have a 10-plus game lead in the division or league prior to 1969, but then be fired before the end of the season. They were up 10 games in June, and they fired Scott Servais in a span of 65 days.
That's bad.
2 months.
We're not talking like May. We're not talking April. Like, hey, you had a 10-game lead because it was a terrible start. Like, June is deep. June is a deep enough. I'm not saying you got to hold on to a double-digit lead in the division, but there's no reason why it should flip-flop the way it did. Now there's 7 games back in the wild card. We're talking about other teams being dead in the water with less work to do than the Mariners. I'm all done.
The division's the only hope, but need we remind you who you're up against in that fight? Not going to work out.
Yep.
Not going to work out. And some positive news here. The Washington Nationals are calling up Dylan Cruz, their number 3 or the number 3 prospect in baseball, for his debut on Monday versus the Yankees.
I'm pretty surprised because I haven't checked in a while, but like last I saw a few months ago, he wasn't doing great.
He's hitting .272 with 13 jacks, 68 ribbies in 99 games between AA and AAA. Worthy of a call up, in my opinion, in a season where got nothing to lose. Why not? Yeah. I'm excited, dude. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say like I've kept tabs on Cruz throughout his minor league stint, but that was a name when he got drafted. You know, you see the clips, the highlights, the style of play, you see the comps.
There was a lot of people clamoring for him to be number 1 overall pick before Skeens.
Yeah, it's just that was a guy that I was like, all right, like in the Nationals organization, I'll have a chance. I would imagine to catch him in some live action. So I'm excited to see him show what he can do, and I'm especially excited for the future of that outfield, man. You got Cruz now, you got James Wood, and then you've got this what is it, Jacob Young? He's pushing 30 bags. I think I saw he's got like 20 doubles this year. Like
Nat's got something going, man.
I'm excited for that outfield, man.
Give it a few years. That's gonna be good. Yeah, I'm excited to see what he does. I mean, there's like a swagger and confidence that he has. You saw it through the College World Series. You saw it through the draft. You know, good looking dude. Like, yeah, it's gonna be good. What was the Moneyball quote? It's like he's ugly. He can't keep a girlfriend or something like that. So he's got no confidence.
Oh.
The old scout.
Love that movie.
His girlfriend's ugly.
He's got no confidence. Speaking of having no confidence, well, no, I take that back. He's going to land on his feet. Jason Heyward DFA'd by the Dodgers in a corresponding move, bringing back Chris Taylor off the IL. The team decided that they wanted to keep Kevin Kiermaier as their lefty off the bench. So they have some depth. I wouldn't call it great depth necessarily, but I mean, they have some names there where it was sort of creating a little bit of a depth log jam, if you will. So they had to say adios to Jason Heyward. Venture to say somebody picks him up. No, so to revisit the conversation we were having, what was it, last week, about being playoff eligible, he will be eligible if somebody picks him up before the end of the month.
I could see that, yeah.
I mean, this seems like a no-brainer, right? It's like somebody's picking up Jason Heyward.
I could see it. Yeah, no need to look at numbers. I think we all know. You know what I mean? Like he's not anything spectacular.
Well, I've got numbers here for you. He's slashing 208, 289, and 393 over 197 plate appearances.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I think it's more so what the impact of him leaving. he's a big part of that Dodger clubhouse. I think him, Mookie, and Freddie are like very close. I think he was very, very close to Freddie. That's a tough name. That's a tough blow. You know what I mean? And it was, I think the corresponding move, I know you said that they had depth, but I think the corresponding move was specifically around Chris Taylor.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Right? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I brought him back off the IL. Or at least
Yeah.
I think I said that.
I thought what was the other name you said where they had depth?
Oh,
Kevin Kiermaier.
Kevin
Yeah.
Kiermaier was another name that people
Yeah.
were speculating. Okay, when Chris Taylor comes back, is he going to be the guy to go? But
Yeah.
they decided to go with him.
Yeah, I think there's aspects to athleticism and things that Kevin Kiermaier can do that Jason Heyward, I think, plays still pretty good defense, but it's just like this clubhouse presence that I'm curious to see. That's a tough blow. That's a gut punch. And you can, like, there's certain names that people talk about when they release. It's like, this one was harder. This was a hard one, I think. But I could see him going somewhere. I don't know. Where? What sounds good? One of these teams on the outskirts? Bring it back as a Cub. You know?
I mean, why? Why bother though at that point?
I don't know.
You know?
I feel bad for him. I feel bad that like I look at his hitting mechanics and I'm like, something could have gotten fixed here. Something could have been changed. And it went too long. Probably got stuck in his ways mechanically.
Stick
You
around the
remember what he
league.
did as a Brave when he came up?
Dude, Jason Heyward is a guy that really, I don't want to say helps me, but for lack of a better way of saying it, Jason Heyward is a guy that helps me realize how old I am because I remember watching his debut.
I do too.
And I'm like 99% sure that
He
was
hit
it.
that missile in right field.
Yeah, and that was it. It was Turner at that
Yeah.
point.
Uh-huh.
I was like, man, this guy could be something special. And here we are talking about, well, you know, he could get picked up, maybe won't, maybe might not. I don't know.
It's tough.
Old, man, getting old. Last thing we got here, Danny Jansen set to make some very strange history. Danny Jansen of the Red Sox. It's official, I believe. I think manager Alex Cora has announced, following just a horrendous, embarrassing sweep at the hands of the Arizona Diamondbacks this weekend, has announced that Monday Danny Jansen will be substituting in for Reese McGuire, who is no longer on the team, as part of the resumption of the June 26 game with the Blue Jays, who the Red Sox acquired him from via trade. The
Wife is cooking right now. That's the loudest possible way.
Hey, she's getting the grub ready. Ready. It's all right. Hey, perfect timing. We're about to wrap up here.
That's true.
Meaning he will not. This is according to MLB score changes on Twitter, by the way. Meaning he will not only become the first player to play for both teams in the same game in MLB history, but he will catch the at bat that he himself started and must be pinch hit for.
That part's the weirdest part too.
I don't understand any of that.
How do we get this guy out?
The last
game plan.
instance that I can recall of something weird happening like this was Soto. Wasn't this his rookie year with the Nats? Do you remember this?
I thought there was something that happened more recently than that.
No, well, it's very possible, but I thought what in the world was that? It was like oh yeah, that's what it was. Juan Soto hits his home run before his MLB debut. This is just a quick excerpt that I'm seeing on Google. Soto will still be eligible to play when this suspended game resumed Monday at Nationals Park, and as a pinch hitter in the sixth inning, the rookie launched a 2-run homer near the concourse in the second deck in right field to provide the difference in Washington's 5-3 victory. So I think, if I recall,
Because he pinch hit?
yeah, he like pinch hit, and then the game got suspended because of weather, I believe. And then, yeah, just another weird baseball thing where it's like, and I saw people tweeting about it. It's like this game, you think about how long this game has been around, and yet we still see things like this where it's just, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's history, but very weird history at the end of the day. And I'll be tuned in, that's for sure. But it's going to be hard to wrap my head around what I'm witnessing. So.
Yeah, it's weird. That's really weird. I like it though.
That's kind of all us Red Sox fans have to really look forward to these days, I guess. After a sweep, pretty much. I mean, I'm not officially kissing the postseason chances goodbye, but I mean, you get swept at home by the D-backs.
We do have our bet coming up here in a few weeks.
Not looking great. Yeah, I don't even know if I'm really looking forward to that. If I'm being honest with you,
I think I'm looking forward to the result.
They can just roll Aaron Judge out there by himself.
I'm down.
Should be all right.
Bugs Bunny, that thing.
You guys probably stand a pretty good chance there. So yeah, I'll be locked in for that, but I'm not really watching with much optimism. So that'll be some cool history to witness. But other than that, nah. You got anything else before we get out of here?
That's it. One more in August, and then we made it through. Dog days will be over. Then we're in the home stretch. September is going to be big time. Big time. Let's cook up some fun content for September. I feel like we got a fun month ahead of us. Yeah.
We've got
buckle up, I think. Things have started. Yeah. We probably need to say RIP to a few teams pretty soon.
Yeah, let's start gearing up for the farewells. That's always fun. Well, I mean, depending upon who you're saying farewell to, but let's cook some stuff up for September and then really get primed for a fun postseason, because like we talked about, the picture is relatively clear, I would say, at this point. But now we're just trying to figure out seeding for a lot of these teams. But who knows? Anything can happen in a month. So as predictable as it may be at this point, as we approach the end of the month, we could be seeing some surprises. And that's why September, I think, will be a fun month of baseball. So be sure to stick around with the 3-0-take. Be sure to check us out on the podcast if you like the audio. Check us out on YouTube if you're more video people. Hit the subscribe button on both. And let's have some fun, shall we? We've got a lot of fun baseball coming up.
Excited to see the way the cookie will crumble.
I love cookies.
Me too. Don't go chasing curveballs, folks.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.